To everybody, she is Marcy. To her neighbors, obviously to her friends. And you don't have to have Congresswoman at the front of that name. You don't have to say Kaptur. At the end of that name, you say Marcy and people know who it is.
Marcy is one of those people that believe that government is there to support and to help lead, but it's really to listen to the community and from the community form policies, form ways in which we can all, move forward and be our fullest potential as citizens and as human beings.
She is the quintessential daughter of Toledo. She is a daughter of immigrants who grew up working hard, working with their hands, sacrificing to make ends meet, and she has never lost those roots.
Who Marcy is absolutely a product of both her background, her family life. Her mother, who was one of the early organizers at Champions Park Plug to form a union, she has roots, and she has roots both in the neighborhood. She still lives in the house that she grew up in.
I was the first to graduate from high school and college. And at age 36, when I was a PhD student at MIT, my party in Lucas County asked me if I would try to unseat a Republican who was then serving in the Congress. And the unemployment in my region was so high. I felt somewhat privileged being able to work on a PhD, but I saw the suffering in my own district. And it was that where I really began to think, well, I know how to do campaigns. I've done it for a lot of other people. I just never did it for myself.
At first, when she started her campaign, it was hard raising money. But she had this idea of having a bake sale. And everybody said that's not possible. Marcy, you're running for Congress. How can you have a bake sale? Well, son of a gun, she had her first bake sale and many, many afterwards, and she raised $10,000. Everybody was quiet afterwards. She had the iron will to think that somebody who's running for their first public office is running for Congress. You'd think she'd be blown out of the water, but her connection to her roots and her connection to people here was so strong, and she just never gave up. She just reached out to people. And of course now, she is the longest serving woman member of the House of Representatives.
I never questioned it, that there was always growing up a strong woman representing our community in the halls of Congress, and that it has continued for her legacy over the course of all of these decades, I think is a testament to her listening to the women and the girls in our community and what their needs are and what their hopes and desires are, and bringing that to the forefront. She really is quite the public servant, and I think takes that very seriously with engaging all of her constituents.
A veteran from my district, Roger Durbin, came up to me at a Jerusalem Township fish fry and shouted at me across the room, "Congresswoman Kaptur, why is there no World War II memorial in Washington, D.C.? He had fought in Northern Europe under Patton's command in the tank brigades, and he knew something was missing, and he wanted a place where he could bring his grandchildren and where America's grandparents could bring their grandchildren to understand what he had been a part of, right? And I knew we had to do this. It took us 17 years from the moment the first bill was introduced, and we had to reintroduce several sessions of Congress. Now, 50 million people have come to visit the memorial. But I really learned more how to be a member of Congress at that time. But I also was so proud that I was the vessel for this idea that a gentleman from my district had suggested to me. That's the way Congress should work. We should bring ideas from the people, from their own knowledge, their own experience, and bring it up to the nation.
Marcy is a person of action. She is very much in command of the issues. She's a tireless worker, and she's committed to the districts that she serves. She champions the underclass, the downtrodden, unions. I can't think of any labor leader, any community activist, any faith-based leader, and I deal with all of them, that don't have high opinions and high regards for Congresswoman Kaptur.
I think she's going to continue, and I think she's going to work very, very hard, particularly today, particularly in this terrible environment in Washington, particularly where immigrants are being reviled. Here's the reality, is this country has been built by immigrants and the children of immigrants for so long. Here's another reality. None of our stories started here. Every one of our stories started somewhere else. I don't care if you came here 300 years ago, 200 years ago, or 50 years ago. And sometimes we forget it. Marcy never has.
Well, we had a number of Democrats elected that year. It was kind of a snapback year because Ronald Reagan was president. Over 60 new Democrats came into the Congress to change America for the better. And I hope that in this year of 2018, the country will deliver the same number of new Democrats to the Congress so that we can refinance Social Security for the next generation, so that we can help America to have good-paying jobs here at home, so that we can help the younger generation afford an education. We need Democrats, and in the House of Representatives, that's where you do it. To use the House as the lightning rod of the people, to send a whole new batch of Americans in there to help change the country for the better. I've lived that change, and I think we need to do it again.